Feel the vibe.
Welcome everyone. You're watching M9ND TV. I am M9ND, your host. We have a very special guest tonight on the show. The lovely, the beautiful, the talented Chanel Simone. And we're gonna get things started off the right way. Before we even ask her the first question, we're gonna let her answer it with this beautiful song. Who is she? What's up, Chanel?
Hey, how are we?
Wow, looking good.
Thank you.
I love this song.
Hi.
So Chanel, we're gonna rock out a little bit to your song, and then we're gonna come in and we're just gonna, build a little vibe, talk a little bit about, who are you really? So that's that. All right. Let's ask the question and get the answer. So, who is she?
Who is she? Okay.
Who is she? Chanel Simone. Talk to us.
All right. Well, I'm Chanel Simone. I'm a child of God first and foremost. A British singer-songwriter, poet, an actress. Just a very creative person who lives and loves and eats and breathes music, and documents my experiences in life in the whole, and also in the spiritual realm too.
Oh wow. So you've been doing music for how long?
I started writing when I was 5, so that's more or less when I could start writing. As soon as I learnt my ABC, I was writing, and I discovered my voice at age 11, and I've been writing and recording ever since, as a ghost writer.
Oh wow.
And in 2011, I decided to not be the ghoulie in the closet anymore, so to speak, and start writing for me, and getting out there and performing and things of that matter.
Well, we hear two accents. We
Okay,
hear
what are you hearing?
we hear obviously that British accent, and we hear that Jamaican accent or the Caribbean accent. And so tell us a little bit about that. What's that all about? Are you like a nice little British Jamaican mix or what?
Well, my accent's all mixed up because my mother, she was born in Spanish Town.
Bang.
And with her being my mentor, and the woman that I admire the most in the world, we kind of teach some of our lingo and mix it up with the British thing. And most of the time, people don't like it, and they say, no, stick to your British accent because it sounds fake. But it is part of my DNA, and I do still have a kind of claim to it. So I'm in a business where them want to say.
Oh yeah, man. So where in Britain were you born?
I was born in Handsworth, Birmingham.
Birmingham.
Yes.
Is that close to Bristol?
Relatively close. The cities are kind of like within a small radius. So Bristol, Manchester, Leeds, London, these are all around us. It's definitely not walking distance though.
Yeah. And what was that like? Growing up there in Birmingham.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm not sure if you know, but Handsworth is the ghetto. You know, it's a place where there's lots of love and family bonds. But you know, there was poverty there. There was I saw riots as a child, looting. Um, but it was just like this melting pot of Pakistanis and Muslims and white people and you know just more or less a lot of different cultures that had just gotten together
Mm-hmm.
in this place to for a better life really. But there was
Mm-hmm.
definitely hardship, but a lot of love.
So all of that, how did all of that help to shape Chanel Simone? Like, living, being born in England or in Birmingham, and growing up in Handsworth, surrounded by the poverty and the struggles. How what pieces of that experiences do you draw on for your art?
All of them, all of them, all of these things have contributed to the woman that I am today.
Tell us a story about your childhood. What was it like? Give us an example of like this hardship that you talk about.
Well, I'm the child out of 10 children,
You're what? How
but
many children?
I'm number 9 out of 10. So
9. Wow.
that's a story within itself.
How many brothers and sisters?
My mom, she's got 6 girls and 4 boys.
Wow, awesome. So it's the same mom that had all these kids.
Yeah, yeah,
That is
yeah. She's
amazing.
superwoman.
Superwoman indeed.
Yeah, yeah. She's a Jamaican superwoman.
Do you have any children? I mean, I don't want to segue too far from you telling us about your child, but do you have any children?
I do. I have a wonderful son, a teenager, great boy.
You have a teenager. Wow, look at you.
Yes, I am a mom. I like to call myself the single mom, but I kind of flipped it, like not single in being a sole parent, but single in singles and hits
There you go.
and prosperity.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, single as a hit record.
I'm trying.
There
It's
you
up to the
go.
public though. You know how
There
it is.
you go. So yeah, go on now. Tell us about like growing up and what you were what you were going into.
Okay, all right. So my childhood, what was my childhood like? Um, yeah, we had a household full of kids, you know, and our home was definitely the spot where everyone wants to go. You can go and see some kids getting beaten. You can go and get a decent meal because you know mom will cook every day to feed us,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was very eventful at home. Christmases, you know, were brilliant. You know, mom would kind of go all out during special occasions to provide for us. And yeah, like I said, there was a lot of love, a lot of togetherness, but you know, the hardship was apparent, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you can imagine a single mom with 10 mouths to feed.
Oh
There were
wow.
challenges, you know.
Yeah.
At times, my brothers would kind of like turn to crime, and you'd wake up to go to school, and there's like police in your backyard, and all station dogs, and
Holy crap.
so that side wasn't fun, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. That definitely didn't sound like any fun. So you went to university or how far did you get in your educational like aspirations?
I did some college,
Mm-hmm.
but I got discovered quite early. Dr. Dre's brother, Warren G, discovered me at a concert,
Mm-hmm.
more or less as soon as I was out of school.
Mm-hmm.
And so they shipped me to Los Angeles, and I began writing, and that was more or less, you know, my major introduction into the music industry.
At that point when you got discovered by Warren G, was it to do hip hop R&B? What was the whole angle for you?
At that time, he thought that I would make a good R&B singer.
Yeah.
But prior to me going there, I had been sketching a lot of pop songs. So, you know, being at that age, you're still trying to find your niche.
Mm-hmm.
And in retrospect, it was kind of all up in the air because he believed I could do things that I was not even familiar with. I mean, at that time, he was requesting for me to sing Shirley Murdoch covers, and I didn't even know who Shirley Murdoch was, or Denise Williams, or Evelyn Champagne King, and all these great singers that I later stumbled across. So yeah, it was predominantly R&B back then.
And this was around, how old were you around this time?
It was in the middle 1990s, so like 94, 95, and me, I was straight out of school, 17.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
So you went on a odyssey of sort, leaving your your familiar surroundings in the UK and coming to California. Was that your first trip to the United States?
No, no. My mom, she had actually tried to escape from us. Since we were kids, she had a couple of successful runs.
Your mom probably see this. She's gonna be laughing her head off right now.
Yeah, when we were kids, she was, more or less trying to map out her escape route.
I mean, with 10 kids, I mean, she was probably under a lot of stress. Y'all stressed her out, huh?
Yeah, we were all bad, every last one.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
Poor
staying
mom.
in the country was not far enough. So
Mhm.
she came over here to the States and started to weigh out her options if she could have, less stressful life here. So we had actually been following her since we were children, like like little ducklets, you know, waddling behind her.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it wasn't my first time.
Mhm.
We had just vacations prior, but I never considered actually just residing here in the States prior to that. So mom kind of paved the way for that.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So reluctantly.
so
So
um, how did I mean? I'm trying to. You said you started writing around 5. So where did your inspiration or your influence for the artistic side if you come from? I mean, was it just something that you stumbled on, or did somebody give you a task and you discovered that you were good at actually writing or singing? How did you discover yourself, your talent?
um, it's very interesting because my older sisters actually replayed it to me later on in life, and it was they would say you were just a reclusive kid,
Mm.
despite the fact that the house is full of kids, you just always wanted to be alone, and you would draw weddings and you would write. So it just kind of chose me. I don't
Mm-hmm.
ever remember sitting there thinking I want to be a writer. But I've always wanted to express my thoughts and my inner feelings.
That's interesting. So you started 5 years old. What was the first thing you wrote? Do you remember?
Um, would you believe that I have a few of my first writings, and it's very strange because I'll see in this little baby toddler type handwriting stuff like "Who is God?"
Oh wow! So it was a religious poem.
It was, yeah, like
Questioning,
reading back, I'm
yeah,
like,
that's deep. That's
what
deep.
was going on?
Tell us about, so who is God? You went in at 5 years old. You asking the question. Oh, did were you a person? Did you go to church a lot?
Mom tried that too, but like I said, we were rebellious kids. So, whatever she tried to enforce, a lot of the times we would make up our minds just to take the beating instead. It was
Mm-mm.
just something that we didn't want to do at that time. But there was always adults in the house, so I think like I probably used to hear a lot of adult like conversations,
Yeah.
as a kid, and just was very curious, and would write down, the questions that I had pertaining to the things that I would hear.
Oh,
Oh.
interesting. So, poetry came before the music, or the music came before the poetry, or were you singing before you were writing?
Definitely poetry first.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, but that's what I love poetry.
You do? Are you? Do you write
Oh
poetry at
my
all?
goodness, I write poetry. I write the hell out of it. I mean, I have about 2 books of poetry. I've published several books for different poets.
Oh my gosh.
I've traveled the world doing poetry. Actually, I've been pretty much all over Europe, Japan, many colleges around the United States, universities. Yeah, I write. You can say I write poetry. I write a lot of it. I
Oh
love
wow.
poetry.
What's one of your favorite pieces that is like you that jumps off the top of your
Oh
head?
my goodness, there's so many. I've been writing so
You're
many.
probably most proud of.
Well, I'm proud of all of them, but I'll give you one, and then you gotta give me back one too. That's how we gonna do this. It ain't gonna be one sided.
All
All right,
right.
I'll just give you a little sample. I have this one called Back to Back, and it goes, she goes back on her back, he goes back on his words, backside of his commitment to back her up. She gives him back his ring and takes back her vows. Things are going backwards now. She's in the backyard of his background, pulling back tears till she's back where she started. At the back door of a back room with a back sore from the back wounds and a back shot, she fights back till she's right back on her back. Trying to pay back her school loan, back rent, back taxes, while he looks back at his reflection, looking back at him, going back and forth. Back to nothing, back to crime, back to court, back to prison, back to living, back in projects, back to dying, back in caskets, only to come back again, reincarnated, back as pain with back pains from being backstabbed by backbiters, backsliders, and backbreakers who break his back to make him pay them back at payday or it's payback, so he's backstage holding, back raging in the back page of Back to Eden, fighting back his demons to win back his life, win back his wife, begging her to take him back on all fours until she asks him, what you want me to take you back for? He says to give you back more than I took when I walked out the back door of your heart. I'm here to take back the past. She looks back and says, don't make me laugh. You only back because I'm back on my feet and you're back on your ass. He's caught in her backdraft. She says, I'm not that soft. You'll never get that chance to break my heart again. I won't go back to your games. Back to you calling me names. Back to your backhands when I back talk, nigga. Back off, you'll be slapped back. If I'm back slapped, I won't be set back just to get back with you. He gets back to begging, gets back to his knees. She looks back in disbelief and says, why don't you take back the disease and the weeks you left me when you turned your back on me without turning back to see if I got back on my feet? He gets back to his feet saying, I'm not back here for playing. I'm back here from praying. I understand what you're saying. I turned my back on me, so I turned my back on you. I'm not back so I could just get back on you. You're my backbone, so I came back home to make the facts known, baby. I'm not back because I'm crazy. I'm back because you made me, and maybe this apology can take back the agony I brought to your heart. All I want is a chance. You don't have to take me back, but I need you back in my life as my friend or my wife. I'm not back to bring you hurt or back to make things worse. I'm back to make things work. So even though you hate me and it hurts, baby, for what it's worth, I will always love you back. Because you carried me in your womb, and then you carried me on your back. And black woman, for that, I will always have your back.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a little rusty. I was a little rusty, dropped off a couple of times, but you get it.
Wow.
So
you do poetry.
There you go. I mean,
what question was that?
yeah.
Oh, that's deep. I like it. I like it a lot.
Thank you. Well, even trade. Let's go. All
right. Okay. So I'm gonna do one, and it's called infrastructure. Yeah. All right. So it's make it poetic. Avoid being political. The strong, independent woman remains critical. The bitter single mother says that she needs no man. Feminists applaud, and she does the work of a dozen. Friday comes around again and still no rest. She smacks the crap out of Superman and takes the S. She builds, she gives birth. She does it best. But she secretly misses the feel of his masculine chest. Labor of love. Labor of hope. Luck doesn't labor, it's a trophy hole. Like Friday every day, it's where the wind blows. She grasps her foundation. Surely she shall grow.
Deep, 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 sister. Infrastructure.
I could have simplified it, but on
No,
Instagram, I kind of like try to come up with an image and just freestyle a poem for
definitely,
the image.
definitely do not simplify it. You know what I mean? Keep it the way it is. I mean, have you published anything? Is that are you thinking about doing anything like that? You know?
I would. I really see myself doing this and being in this field for the rest of my life, or as long as the Most High will allow me. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, the endless possibilities that are here, I'm surely manifesting them and looking forward to really getting that recognition and being able to inspiring to others as well through that art form. So, yeah, I would like that.
Okay, so we know that Chanel Simone now is you know is pretty much super talented, beautiful.
Thank
Um,
you.
what are some of the other aspects of you that you know you think people you know it's not obvious to everybody.
Um, well, one thing that I find that's not obvious to a lot of people, especially when they first meet me, is that I'm quite a deep thinker.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm very analytical,
Mm-hmm.
and this is something that, like I said earlier, that kind of just grew with me. I've always been, the kid that, mom says, don't touch that, it's gonna go, and then I'll touch it anyway. So
Curious.
you're very curious, very, very curious to a fault. So that's not obvious, and also just my just kind of like wanting and acquiring other art forms too, like sculptures and paintings and just more or less just embracing everything creative that the world has to offer. So that's something that's not very obvious as well. When you first meet me, you later find out, okay, it's not just singled out to music alone.
Yeah, yeah. You have other inclinations.
What was that?
You have many other inclinations.
I do, and I try to participate as much as I can as well. I mean, the world is just so huge and just so wonderful. There's just so many things here to explore, and I just try not to limit myself.
So I was reading something on you earlier, and it was talking about steel pulse, and there's a mention that you are the cousin of Janet Coley,
Yes,
who
yes,
was a
yes,
background vocalist for for the group at that time,
yes,
right?
yes. One of my favorite cousins. God, I hope she's resting in peace. She passed away, but she had an amazing voice, and she would, drag me along to their rehearsals, and I'll be, this little one around, bingy dreads, just singing and holding a vibe, and that definitely contributed to my love of music. The same love that I have today that I had back then.
So what were some of the benefits of like hanging out with with your cousin during that time? What were some of the things you picked up from just being around those musicians? Going to the rehearsals and everything.
Um, these people were just like super talented and just humble and just like they just had very strong roots in reggae and just humanity as well.
Yeah.
They were just very honest, very loving, very caring, and then they had they had like adult superpowers. You'd be talking, and then they take out their instruments, and then you just hear like this amazing music. So, from being around them at an early age, I can say that it was humbling, and it also, what the impression it left on me was, it doesn't matter how super you may be, or what your talent may be, you have the responsibility to be a good person, and to know that, God gives and God can take away. So, don't let it get ahead of you, and don't, let it um, grow an ego for yourself. So ever since I was around them, as a child, I'm just like, I always just meet people who are equally as great, but I don't look at them as or anything other than people as well, having God gifts that God has issued to them.
Okay. All right. So I want to kind of fast track through your musical, landscape or escapades. We started off early. You talked about Warren G and meeting him, and that's, I believe he's Dr. Dre, and he has some affiliation with Snoop Dogg too. Did you
Yeah,
ever,
the best friends.
the best friends? Did you meet those guys as well? Were you able? Were you, what did you?
I did. At the time, they were working with the Dog Pound,
Mm-hmm.
and so I got to meet Daz, Corrupt, the late Nate Dogg as well,
Mm-hmm.
and I met Dr. Dre very briefly at a family picnic. And who else? MC Light was around back then as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a couple of the West Coast rappers that were on the scene, I ran into them in the studio.
Okay, cool. So after you went to LA, and I guess you started. How did things work going to California to work with Warren G? Did you start recording right away, or was it like you went into a boot camp for, like, development? What what was the process? What happened?
It was a bit of both, because I mean, I didn't feel ready,
You didn't feel
like
like you were ready at the time?
I didn't feel ready, no, because I came over here and just everything just got enormous. Like the roads just were supersized. You order a drink, it's big. You get a picture, you think that maybe you're going to share it with 10 people or something, looking around, see who else
Uh,
needs a sip. And it's like, no, that's just for you. So, this place just felt like this big, gigantic new world.
yeah. Was it
So
scary?
scared is an understatement. I was petrified. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know anyone here. And, I kept hearing, well, Brandy's out, and Monica's out, and you're going to be the British version. And I was like, these girls are singing circles around me. I can't sit next to them. No. So I guess he picked up on that. So he was like, okay, I'm going to need some help with her. And so he got a vocal coach for me.
You did. You got a vocal coach. That's
He,
awesome.
he did, and then he would invite musicians in to sit with me as I would write, and just kind of like allowed me to take baby steps, so that it wasn't so daunting.
Okay, what happened after the warranty? What was the next phase of your journey? What happened after that?
Well, during that time, he was doing extremely well with the success of Regulate.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't seeing very much of him, even though I was writing, and the studio was there and accessible, and I had the tools that I needed in order to grow.
Mm-hmm.
But I just felt very alone, and kind of missing my family as well,
Mm-hmm.
and just realizing that it was a process that was not gonna flourish overnight. So I made the decision to go back to England for a while, and kind of like take what I had learned in California back home. And by the time I got back home, I realized I had outgrown home. You know,
As
everything.
in what way? In just a mindset or
It was like the reverse happened. Like I got back home
everything too small?
and everything shrunk. Everything shrunk.
Hey,
You know.
that happened to me the first time I went back to Jamaica after being in America for a long time. Like when I went back, it felt so. I felt like everything was so small. Like, cause I grew up in Portmore, and there's a lot of one-story houses, right?
Right.
And I mean, when I was growing up, those houses felt like towers. We used to go on the top of the roofs and do things up there, and sometimes jump off and do the. I just remember all these little things I used to do as a little boy, right? But when
Right.
I got back there, man, I'm like, jeez, whiz. I mean, cause in America, there's so many towering edifices, where for the most part, even your eye line gets adjusted here. Like so most people don't lift their eye line beyond like a few stories because there's so many towering structures. But when you go to a place where you can actually see the sky and everything just looks low, you
Right.
feel like you're bigger than everything. So I understand exactly what you were talking about. But
It,
what was your
it just
mindset like? Did you gained some experiences and saw some different things from what you grew up with? What were some of the things that you saw that expanded your horizon a little bit?
well,
Because
just
Warren G and
seeing
them had
people that you
money.
would see on TV, you're
Hmm.
running into them in a backyard.
Yeah.
You know, it just all of a sudden, it just was like just a new world. Like um that was big. That was big, especially for a teenager who's like impressionable.
Hmm.
So and then just going out to dinner and possibly just sitting next to um who did I meet back then? Michael Jordan. I'm
Wow.
like, is that Michael Jordan? And then you have to be classy and contained about it. You want to scream, you want to call home, guess who's here? And then you just kind of like casually sit and just learn the ropes. So just everything was just fast and big, like I said. It's like a new world.
A whole new world. So, when did you do your first record?
When
Yes.
within the first month, I did my first record. I did a song called Cold Ghetto, and I did a song called I'm For Real.
Hmm.
Those are the main two that I did, and some other songs that he would say, no, I don't think so.
Hmm.
The two.
And your accent, did you always have a strong Jamaican accent?
No, it wasn't strong back then. I got a strong accent by being in Miami and being exposed to the whole dancehall scene.
Hmm.
And just embracing that and just realizing how much fun it is,
Okay.
and just the whole Jamaican swag thing. I got that then.
Did you go back to Jamaica at any point?
I did after I went back home from California. A producer paired me with Beanie Man
Beanie
and
Man.
said we might be able to come up with something musical between the both of us.
And did
So
you
then I
guys come up
got
with
new
something
out
musical?
there.
What did you do? What did y'all create?
We did a song called "Jump for Your Body," but I wasn't singing a great deal on it. I'm just like doing a lot of background singing, like I'm like da 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 da, just a lot of feelings and stuff like that. So it was an up tempo um dancehall type song, and they played it out there, and I had a chance to record Black Scorpio
Hmm.
out there, and we also went and visited Sizzler's hut.
Sizzler.
Yeah, I went over there. That was cool.
Sizzler.
That was cool to see, where he lives and just how, his humble surrounding too. So yeah, I went to Jamaica, and it's the only place that I feel is closest to paradise. It was just so beautiful, the lakes and waterfalls and the rivers. It just was a gorgeous experience for me.
Okay. So you have a single out now. Is that what you the 100%, is that a single?
It is a single.
Um, is that for a record that you're working on, or is that something that you did and you're just still promoting? Well, what's going on with that?
Did the song, did the video, and it was the first one, since I decided to begin writing for myself, because I've spent many years collaborating with artists who are already out the gate and are doing their thing. So that's what I came up with, and I am still promoting it. It's like 3-4 years old now, and it's opened the door to other opportunities. But 100%, that's my baby. Yes,
That's
my
dope.
baby.
That's dope. So we want to play a song right now. You sent us a couple songs. Pick one. Which one do you want to hear? Which one do you want us to play for the people?
Since we're on the subject, come on, let's get that 100% cracking.
100%. Let's hear it. Let's go. So, we're gonna basically get into some more channel Simone. Y'all stay tuned. This lady is super talented, and we're happy to have her here in the studio with us. So just sit tight while we load up this studio. Chanel, tell us also where, for those who may be interested in just checking you out, where they can go on the social media, to find out more about you.
Okay, so you can find me on Twitter at Chanel Simone UK. You just put the UK at the end of Chanel Simone, and you'll find me. I'm on SoundCloud, Chanel Simone. Instagram, Chanel Simone Official, and YouTube, Chanel Simone TV. Please go support me. Say great things about me, please.
All right, so let's
from your heart, though.
We should actually try to play that video. Let's see if we could make that a possibility. If we could drag that video in here, and and play it for the people, so they can see it.
All right.
We're gonna try.
All right. Let's see.
We're gonna try. Let's see what we can do. Here we go. Let's see.
I switched to Geico and saved a bunch of money on car insurance.
They got Geico
we
on
now
here.
fast forward to the end of this Geico ad so you can get to your video
Let's get this
faster.
Geico. We're not giving Geico no advertisement. Oh, here we go. Chanel Simone.
The time has come now for you to find out what it is that I need in a man. Ooh. When it comes to romance, it is so important that you love me the way that I really wanna be a lady. Ain't no ifs or buts on babies. Everybody needs love. Let me be free so I can be your wife, your baby mama. Cook and clean and be there for you. I can give you all of this. What can you give me? 100%. Saw him say, he said he'll give me 100%. And so I'll be your wife, your baby mama. Cook and clean and be there 100%. Saw him say, give my heart and soul. Together we could grow. Happily. Really wanna be a lady. Ain't no ifs or buts or maybes. Everybody needs love. Let me be free so I can be your wife, your baby mama. Cook and clean and be there for you. I can give you all of this. What can you give me? 100%. Saw him say, he said he'll give me 100%. And so I'll be your wife, your baby mama. Cook and clean and be there 100%. Saw him say, he said he'll give me 100%. And so I'll be your wife, your baby mama. Cook and clean and be there 100. My baby, 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 baby. Don't take my heart and then go break it. My baby, 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 baby. You made a promise, try to keep it. My baby, baby, baby. Don't take my heart and then go break it. My baby, 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 baby. You made a promise, 100%. 100. You said you'll give me 100%. That's what you told me. Yeah. You said you'll give me 100%.
Wow, that was amazing. Thank you. That was beautiful. That was such an amazing video. Now, who created the treatment for that? Who directed that? I believe I saw something where you were playing the role of like many different people. Something that I'm very familiar with. So let's get into that.
I wanted to write, the treatment for my first video, and especially coming from a writer's background, I wanted to challenge myself and kind of graduate and go into writing other art forms. So I volunteered to write the treatment, and I drove the director nuts because it was my first time storyboarding, and all this stuff just seems so easy until you start it. And you realize that every last detail needs to be covered, and maybe you need to spend the same amount of years that you've been singing just concentrating on trying to write a decent storyboard. So I came up with like 100 different versions.
Wow.
I am exaggerating.
Yeah.
But I just kept changing it, and then you kind of like have to work with what's available and who's available if you don't have $1 million budget. So at first my mind just wandered, and I just thought anything was possible until we had to start talking about cost.
Oh my.
Then I realized I'm not going to be able to have human beings flying in the sky.
Oh,
I'm not going to have a clown coming out of the ocean. Or anything else that was wacky that I could come up with. So we simplified it. The director just told me this is what we have available, and when you're doing a treatment, you work with what you have, and you do it the best you can with within your margin and within your budget. So as soon as I got that in my head, sunk into my head, we came up with, I came up with, just having this dream, which is like a lot of women's dream, is to find love and happiness and have the marriage and the man and the kid and the white picket fence, and so I just took a notion that a lot of women can relate to, or it's possibly being a desire of theirs at one point or the other. So with that, and then the direct side, being friends with a choreographer who had an amazing team of girls who are ballerinas, that more than made up for not having the Loch Ness Monster come out of Miami Beach.
100%. Sometimes we say, art is a imitation of life, or vice versa, right?
Yeah.
Was that an experience from an experience that you had? Was that something that...
Oh my gosh, I was hoping you was not going to ask me that, but yes, it is.
We need to know. So, did you get married? Did the video play out like how it happened in real life?
It did. It really did. I came to America, the land of opportunity, and, the place where, your wildest dreams can come true. And I met the man, and the marriage took place, and it was just everything in hindsight. Everything was just done too soon. There's a level of maturity that needs to come with